What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be telling a story about how I 100% randomly, unprompted, unscripted, met my RuneScape girlfriend by accident when I was like 12 years old. Now, to give you a bit of context, I have been playing RuneScape since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I started out on my mom's account. My mom used to play the game. She was a young mother back in the day, and she used to play RuneScape for whatever reason. And I don't think she was a very high level. I think she was like, maybe like 70 combat or something like that. But anyway, I used to play on her account. I would add all these random people that I met. I'd train up her stats. I was like her personal bot, basically, doing random stuff. She never gave me tasks. It would have been funny if she did. But yeah, I was just like playing the game on her account, probably because I was a young kid and she didn't want me to have my own and get into some weird shit, which I ended up doing several years later, even when I was older. But anyway, that goes on and on. I'm adding all these friends. She's like, wow, your friends are messaging me. And I'm like, yes. They're probably like other 6-year-old kids. Eventually, when I'm like, I think 7 years old or 6 years old, end of 6, maybe start of 7, I end up getting my own RuneScape account. And at the start, it's free to play only because they were like, we're not paying for that shit because we were pretty poor, to be honest. But anyway, got my RuneScape account, still making friends. And a funny story for context, I was kind of a RuneScape womanizer. So when I was like 6 or 7 or 8, something like that, I managed to get this girl who was like 16 to send me nudes as a 8-year-old kid. I remember it was saved on the on the family computer in like a pictures folder, like hidden in another folder. So I was like so scared that it would be caught because like that year or a year before, my parents had put parental controls on and they started like watching what I was doing more. I had typed in girls.com because I thought it was a club for other like 8-year-old boys who hated girls on the playground, like type shit. Like, that sounds absurd, right? Yeah, I had like basically just discovered porn, and I was like, I vividly remember clicking through it and being like, holy shit, like this is insane stuff. And yeah, like eventually I got caught, and somehow I was too stupid to explain like what I was doing. Like, it sounded like fake, like anyway, probably to them. And I was like, no, like, I remember they caught me. They were like, we see what you've been looking at on there. Like they were like pissed. And I was like, yo, it's not what it seems like. Like, I'm just looking at like for a club of guys who don't like girls, or like, I don't remember what it was. Like, to see, it sounds so incel, but when you're 6 or 7 or 8 years old, you're like, ew, girl, like cooties type shit. Like, it was that. Like, I'm totally okay with women. All right. Like, I don't hate women. All right. Let's get that out there. Get that out of the way. But anyway, got caught for that. They had parental controls on the computer, convinced some random girl at like the age of 7 who was 15 to send me nudes. Had it saved on the computer. I guess I'm lucky, like, the FBI didn't come and arrest my fucking stepdad. That would have been crazy. But yeah, so eventually I'm on RuneScape, and I meet this girl, supposed girl, at least at the time, called Jenny. Now, Jenny's username was something like Jenny278776 or something like that. It was like Jenny followed by a string of numbers. So this Jenny character and we would talk all the time. I don't even necessarily remember having like a crush on her, so RuneScape girlfriend might be an exaggeration. We would talk all the time, and I don't think we were ever officially RuneScape boyfriend, girlfriend, but she was around the same age as me, right? Talked to Jenny, for like the next 2 years, say, 2 or so years. There's a bit, I remember that specifically, there was a giant break where she would play the game. I was like, she's never going to play again. Like, I'll probably never talk to this person again. And, it maybe been like, let's say 6 months since I'd last seen her online. And, eventually she does come online again. And I end up talking to her a little bit, but then, she goes dark again. She doesn't play the game anymore, basically. And fucking, oh man, one time I remember, I always held that hope that she'd come back online. Because, like, I was like, that's my friend, like, type shit. Yeah, I remember one day I accidentally deleted her from my friends list. And if you don't know in RuneScape, you can't just, like, undo that. You have to know their full username and type it back out. I remember vividly, I sat there trying to pull the string of numbers that preceded Jenny out of my head, and I just like could not do it. And I was typing in all these different variations of Jenny, and then one of them worked, and like I was about 90% sure that was the right name. 10% I was like, shit, maybe it's not actually the right name. Anyway, she hadn't come online in a long time. So one day my mom comes to me as, you know, an 8-year-old kid and is like, hey, you want to go to the water park, the local indoor water park? It's called Splash Lagoon. It's a pretty cool place. They have a hot tub and slides and a big bucket that dumps water on you. And my friend's grandfather actually owns it. It's, I guess, kind of like a vacation destination, or like something you could do while you're on vacation in the area. Me and my mom are going to Splash Lagoon, riding on the slides, playing in the pool, shooting some hoops in the water. So I'm like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid at this water park by myself trying to make friends. And at the time, I remember Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had come out sort of recently, so I was like hella grinding that, like 30 days like played time over like 2 months. I remember I felt so gross and just horrible after playing that for so long. But I loved that game, loved playing it with my friends. It was that area, just to give you guys an idea of the time period. So I'm walking around the water park, trying to make friends, shooting hoops in the pool, going down the slides, the lazy river, you know, all the classic shit. So eventually I'm in the line for this one slide, the black hole or something like that is what it was called. It was dark. And I see this girl and a boy. I don't know their relation yet. They're just standing in line in front of me, like literally right in front of me. And they're talking and saying like some, you know, irrelevant shit. They're not like saying anything that would cue me on to the fact that they played RuneScape or anything like that. The only reason why I approached them and talked to them was this boy said to his sister, hey, Jenny, like something. He referred to her as Jenny. And something, I don't know, like, I am not a religious man, but I talked to her and I was like, hey, do you play RuneScape by chance? I think I asked the guy at first, like her brother at first, said, hey, do you play RuneScape? And he said no. And Jenny said, yes, I do. And me being the spurg that I am, I was like, do you remember my username? And she immediately said, yes, I do. And that is how I met my RuneScape girlfriend in a fucking water park, like completely randomly. And the craziest part was she wasn't from the area, and I somehow like had this moment of clarity that this was the Jenny that I used to talk to on RuneScape by her brother calling her Jenny. Like, I do not know. I wasn't just going up to people that I heard that like I wasn't just doing that to random people normally. Like, I probably would never have done that at any other time in my life. I wouldn't do that now. It wouldn't fucking make sense to do. But yeah, that was Jenny that I played RuneScape with all those years ago and used to talk to all the time. It's like an unbelievable story. Like, when I tell people that story, it sounds fake. As it turns out, Jenny wasn't even from the area. She was from like a different state, I think, entirely. And she was just down there like on vacation. And I was there because it was the local fucking water park. Me being the spurg that I am, I'm like, hey, Jenny, do you have AOL Instant Messenger or something? Or Skype? And I was trying to get her like, you know, contact details so I could remain friends or whatever. She didn't end up having like any sort of internet technology. And at the time I didn't have a phone either, but I was kind of allowed free access to whatever I wanted to do online, which is probably bad, but I was. So eventually it comes up that her brother has an Xbox and he likes to play Xbox all the time. We arranged that I'll add her brother on Xbox. And I remember for some reason, like pretty vividly, that her brother seemed like he was not down. He was not interested in that at all. But it ended up happening, and I added him on Xbox. And I like sent some messages to try and like, I don't know, like play games or something with the mysterious Jenny. I ended up doing that like one time ever. And then I think that he removed me on Xbox or something at some period in time, because that was kind of the tail end of the Modern Warfare 2 era, and it was kind of the tail end of when I was inside all the time gaming. After that, I kind of spent all my time outside getting active and stuff like that, right? But I lost contact with Jenny, and recently I went on my OG RuneScape account to see if I still have Jenny27986 or whatever added. I do not, unfortunately. Kind of sad. I think her account was one of the ones that like got deleted or hacked from being so old. It would be really cool to be able to meet Jenny in real life or talk to her again. Nothing weird, just would be crazy to be like, what's up? Or maybe even follow each other on Instagram. That shit would be cool. Yeah, guys, that kind of wraps it up. Completely random chance. Closest thing to an act of God you could probably imagine, meeting my RuneScape girlfriend in real life. Let me know if you guys liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe below. Tell me what you think. See you later.